Hello, how is it going, everybody? Today we're going to be jumping into Job chapter 13. So let me get the text up on screen. Okay, so what we've been reading is Job and his friends having a conversation, right? Job is suffering. He is not doing well at all, right? He's in pain and he's wishing that he could just die. Whoa. Let me just make sure I'm not lagging before I go any further. All right, that's perfect. Okay, so Job and his friends have been talking. Job, he lost his kids. He has boils over his body. He's in pain. He's wishing he would die. He's wishing he wasn't born, And his friends are trying to reason with him. Instead of, listening and hearing him out, just being there for support because he's in pain, they're trying to rationalize what's going on. Surely something has gone wrong, right? This doesn't happen to normal people, okay? So you had to have done something wrong to have gotten God upset with you. So they want someone there. Usually when something bad happens, people want to find out who to blame, right? You can't blame God for this. So who else you got to blame? You got to blame Job. Job had to have sinned, had to have done something wrong. That's why he died. That's why he's in this pain. Job's kids had to have done something wrong. That's why they passed away. So, but Job is like, why are you questioning me? I haven't done anything wrong and all this stuff. So he is so confused. He doesn't understand the situation. And that's throwing his whole entire mindset into disarray. So we left off with Job answering, right? We've been going back and forth with first Eliphaz speaking, then Job, and then another friend, and then Job, and then another friend, and Job. So now Job. The last thing we left off was Job responding, and we're continuing with Job. So let's jump into chapter 13, and let me unmute so you guys can hear. All right, here we go. Job chapter 13.
Behold, my eye has seen all this. My ear has heard and understood it. What you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you. But I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But you, forgers of lies, are all worthless physicians. Oh, that you would...
Right? So he's trying to reason with God, trying to figure out what is going on here. What is happening to me? Why is this happening? Whereas his friends, they're lying in the sense that they're saying you did something wrong. You had to have done something wrong. And Job is like, I haven't done anything wrong. So he's saying you're lying.
Be silent, and it would be your wisdom. Now, hear my reasoning, and heed the pleadings of my lips.
Right? He has to point this out. Now, hear my reasoning. Because they're not listening to him. They're already set in the idea that you had to have done something wrong. Because they don't want to put any fault on God. So, that's why I understand where they're coming from. I just wish that they were a bit more understanding and caring. They came off, right? They're not coming off as caring. Sure, they probably want to fix the problem, right? They don't want to see their friend in this situation. They don't want to see their friend in pain. So in order to fix the problem, what do you have to do? You have to repent. Because there has to have been a cause for all of this, and that cause can't be God, it's you. So therefore, you need to repent. And once you repent, God won't be angry at you and you won't be in pain. So I see where they're coming from. They're trying to help. But from Job's perspective, he didn't do anything wrong. So he's just getting more and more frustrated. And the way they're coming across, the friends, the way they're coming across isn't the nicest. Their delivery needs to be better.
Will you speak wickedly for God and talk deceitfully for him? Will you show partiality for him? Will you contend for God? Will it be well when he searches you out? Or can you mock him as one mocks a man? He will surely rebuke you if you secretly show partiality. Will not his excellence make you afraid, and the dread of him fall upon you? Your platitudes are proverbs of ashes. Your defenses are defenses of clay. Hold your peace with me, and let me speak. Then let come on me what may.
He just wants to vent.
Why do I take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hands? Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Even so, I will defend my own ways before him. He also shall be my salvation, for a hypocrite could not come before him. Listen carefully to my speech and to my declaration with your ears.
Let me read what my Bible's got to say about this, because this is interesting, right? He says, though he slay me, yet I will trust him. Even so, I will defend my own ways before him. What's my Bible's got to say about this? Chapter 13. Job desires to reason or argue his case before God. He rejects the incompetent counsel of his three friends who, like worthless physicians, have made a wrong diagnosis that Job is a sinner. He's at fault. Have made a wrong diagnosis concerning the cause of his disease and suffering. In fact, they were forgers of lies, literally falsehood plasterers. Job's friends were smearing his sores with a sham concoction of dogma. Instead of piously accusing their unfortunate friend, they should have been praying with him. Okay. That's what they should have been doing, and that makes a whole lot more sense. That's probably exactly what Job wants. In response to Zophar's derisive question concerning Job's words, Job expresses the desire that his friends would be absolutely silent. That's what I was saying yesterday. Better them just stop talking, right? All this mental anguish going on, plus all the physical pain. He probably doesn't want to deal with what they're saying. Just be quiet. Indeed, that would have been the friend's wisest action. Job's sarcasm reflects his earlier words to them in 12:2. Using the vocabulary of a wisdom teacher, Job explains his reason for insisting on silence. He wants them to hear and pay attention to his words. He urges them to listen diligently to his words instead of trying to defend God. Dang, see, this can easily fall into a me versus God scenario. Job versus God. He might even start, this could easily fall into him resenting God because they are taking up for God while he is in pain. Hi, Rhonda. Sometimes people just need a listening ear. Exactly. Thank you for joining us today. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Job is looking for. He just wants someone to lend a listening ear. Exactly. Where was I? He wants them to hear and pay attention to his words. He urges them to listen diligently to his words instead of trying to defend God. Their pious platitudes are as worthless as proverbs composed of ashes. The latter half of the verse seems to clarify, "Take my flesh in my teeth," to mean risking losing one's life like an animal who tries to defend itself while carrying its prey in its mouth. Trust him. We're looking at verse 15 here. Though he slay me, yet I will trust him. Even so, I will defend my own ways before him. That sounds a bit like Job and God on opposing views a little bit, right? While this verse is widely known as a powerful statement of Job's trust in God, it is not without difficulties. The Hebrew word translated him is similar in sound to the Hebrew word for no. Thus, some have translated the verse as follows: Behold, he slay me, I have no hope. Yet the positive translation of the verse as it is here seems preferable because it follows the flow of the section. So let's read this again. Even though he slay me, yet I will trust him. Behold, he will slay me, I have no hope. That sounds pretty negative. It says, thus some have translated the verse as follows: Behold, he will slay me, I have no hope. Yet the positive translation of this verse, as it is here, seems preferable because it follows the flow of the section, which has other positive elements. It also makes wonderful sense with the verse. Job believes that God is in the process of slowly taking his life. And Job is already called out saying, just end it. I wish I wasn't even born. Just end it. He's tired of all this pain. Job believes that God is in the process of slowly taking his life. But in a bold declaration of faith, Job declares his absolute trust in God for when he would be brought into God's presence, he would plead his cause directly with God. And then, if not before, Job would rediscover what he had never really lost, God's love and salvation. And Rhonda says, even though he's in a dark place, his faith in God does not forsake him. Exactly. Yeah, he's in such a dark place, and his faith in God his faith itself is not shaken. And of course, God is not going to forsake him. I mean, imagine if we were in that position. Like, dang, would you have this much faith? It's crazy to think about. Like losing your kids, and that's a lot to go through. And it's a lot to go through, but I feel like it would be easier to go through if you knew why. In Job's case, he doesn't even know why. Rhonda says she's been there. Man, that's tough. But you're here now, right? So, it's hard. Probably it must have been a tough journey going through that dark place, but man.
Listen carefully to my speech and to my declaration with your ears. See now, I have prepared my case. I know that I shall be vindicated. Who is he who will contend with me? If now I hold my tongue, I perish. Only two things do not do to me, and I will not hide myself from you. Withdraw your hand far from me, and let not the dread of you make me afraid. Then call, and I will answer. Or let me speak, then you respond to me. How many are my iniquities and sins? Make me know my transgression and my sin.
Right? He just wants to know. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you were going through such times and you didn't know why, you just feel so lost. Like, why is this happening to me? Man, that's all he honestly wants. He'll suffer in pain. He just wants to know why this is happening. This is sad.
And my sin. Why do you hide your face and regard me as your enemy?
That's what it sort of feels like.
Will you frighten a leaf driven to and fro?
Like God is against him.
And will you pursue dry stubble? For you write bitter things against me.
Will you frighten a leaf? Like, is that meaning like something so insignificant? Why are you coming after me? What have I done?
Bitter things against me, and make me inherit the iniquities of my youth. You put my feet in the stocks and watch closely all my paths.
So maybe some things that he's trying to reason again. Maybe some things that he's done wrong in the past, he's getting punished for today.
You set a limit for the soles of my feet. Man decays like a rotten thing, like a garment that is moth-eaten.
Man.
Man who is born of woman is of few days and full of trouble. He comes forth like a flower and fades away. He flees like a shadow and does not continue. And do you open your eyes on such a one and bring me to judgment with yourself? who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean.
Let me see what my Bible's got to say about this. 4:1. Job agrees with Eliphaz's assessment that a person is born for trouble. He stresses life's misery and brevity through two vivid metaphors: a fading flower and a fleeing shadow. Rhonda says, it feels like God forgot him. Yes. It feels like God forgot him and left him alone. However, Job has no idea the devil bet God that his faithful servant Job would no longer worship him if he took everything away from him. Yes, it feels like God really forgot him, or even to the point where God is against him, as Job said, you know. And Rhonda, how do you feel about that? How do you feel that Job is stuck between this bet that God and the devil had? You know, it's just like, I feel like it's tough, right? It's like they're using Job to prove a point, and Job is going through all of this just so God can prove something to the devil. God agreed, but told the devil, don't harm him, don't cause him any bodily harm. Right. Initially, God said, you know, don't touch his person at all, right? Which is why the devil initially killed Job's sons. But what did Job do in response? He was still completely faithful. He knelt down and prayed to God. So then God allowed the devil to touch Job's body, but you can't take his life, right? That's why the devil afflicted Job with the boils all over his body as he's in pain right now. But man, it's tough, and I can understand why people really grapple with this book and come to the conclusion that this is all just a metaphor. It didn't really happen. Probably because it's hard to believe that, you know, God would allow this to happen to someone just for a point to be proven. What do you think about that, Rhonda? I feel like it's tough. It's tough to grapple with. Maybe I'm not fully understanding the situation, but it's tough. But looking at verse 1, man who is born of woman is a few days and full of trouble. He comes forth like a flower and fades away. He flees like a shadow and does not continue. And my Bible said Job agrees with Eliphaz's assessment that a person is born for trouble. He stresses life's misery and brevity through two vivid metaphors: a fading flower and a fleeing shadow. It's a great point that was proven to be true. Yeah, it is a great point that is proven to be true. He didn't lose faith in God, did he?
Clean thing out of an unclean. No one. Since his days are determined, the number of his months is with you. You have appointed his limits so that he cannot pass. Look away from him that he may rest, till like a hired man he finishes his day. For there is hope for a tree, if it is cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its tender shoots will not cease.
Rhonda says, all things work together for the greater good of them that love the Lord. Yep. And it's exactly what Job is saying right here. For there is hope for a tree, if it is cut down, that it will sprout again. Right? So all things work together for a greater good. Even the worst things, right? If it is cut down, it'll sprout again, you know? Even if you go through hardships, it'll lead to something good again.
The shoots will not cease. Though its root may grow old in the earth, and its stump may die in the ground, yet at the scent of water it will bud and bring forth branches like a plant. But man dies and is laid away. Indeed, he breathes his last. And where is he?
So Job is hopeless right here. Job needs to hear what Rhonda said. All things work together for the greater good of them that love the Lord. And Job needs to hear that right now. He's saying, but man dies and is laid away. Indeed, he breathes his last. And where is he? He's saying basically it's hopeless. What's the point? I'm going to die. Nothing's going to happen. You know? Yeah, Job is not doing well right now. His mental state is not too great right now. The devil knew how much Job loved God. And in my opinion, the devil was jealous of their solid relationship. Ooh. The devil was jealous of their solid relationship. That's an interesting take. But okay. Here is my rebuke to that. Just for conversation's sake. God was the one that brought up Job to the devil, if I remember correctly, right? Satan didn't bring up Job to begin with. Let me see which verse was that? Okay, here. Chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." So Satan was just saying, I've been on earth. And so then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil?" So he was like, hey, you've been on earth this whole time. Did you hear about Job? He's a blameless guy. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's amazing. So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing?" And so hearing that, okay. So hearing that, maybe that might have spiked something in the devil, right? Maybe, probably. Why else would he want the bet, right? Yes, he said yes, have you seen my servant Job, right? Yeah. So yeah, probably hearing that from God, he was like, okay, you think so? All right, let's bet. He's up for the challenge. Man. Do you think God should have given in? Do you think God should have been like, okay, do it. Job is going to prove you wrong. Do you think God should have? Well, we can't question God, right? We can't question God, so you don't even have to answer that if you don't want to. But it's just, I don't know. It's just interesting to think about, I guess.
Indeed, he breathes his last. And where is he? As water disappears from the sea, and the river becomes parched and dries up, so man lies down and does not rise. Till the heavens are no more, they will not awake nor be roused from their sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in the grave, that you would conceal me until your wrath is past, that you would appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man dies, shall he live again?
However, God allowed it because, in my opinion, God had faith as well in Job. 100% God had faith in Job. Yeah, he wouldn't, I don't think he would have agreed if he didn't think Job would come out on top. I mean, it was a wager after all, right? A point was trying to be made from on the devil's side and God's side. So I feel like God did have confidence and faith in Job. That's how strong the relationship was. Correct, right? Yeah, the relationship was very strong.
All the days of my hard service I will wait till my change comes. You shall call, and I will answer you. You shall desire the work of your hands, for now you number my steps, but do not watch over my sin. My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and you cover my iniquity. But as a mountain falls and crumbles away, and as a rock is moved from its place, as water wears away stones, and as torrents wash away the soil of the earth, so you destroy the hope of man. You
Okay, so he is actually getting upset with God. He is getting up. He's not turning away from God, but he is definitely frustrated and he's definitely getting upset. Because he doesn't understand what's going on here.
prevail forever against him, and he passes on. You change his countenance and send him away. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. They are brought low, and he does not perceive it. But his flesh will be in pain over it, and his soul will mourn over it.
Then
Rhonda, I have a question. Why do you think Job wasn't taken up to heaven, right? They had such a strong relationship, and God himself said that Job is blameless. So why, I mean, again, this is just hypothetical, right? We're just speculating here. But why do you think Job wasn't taken to heaven, right? Because if you look at Moses sinned repeatedly, but Moses also had a strong relationship with God where Moses and God could talk, like have a conversation. They talked one-on-one, right? There were times when Moses even talked God down from anger. So their relationship was extremely strong. I don't know if Job talked to God on a one-to-one basis, like that personally, but he was blameless. So maybe that answers my question, actually. Maybe that's what it takes to be taken up to heaven. You need to have, you might be blameless, you might be completely sinless, but you need to have that relationship with God. And I mean, I'm sure Job had an extremely strong relationship with God, right? The faith that he had was extremely strong, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't have the closeness that Moses had, that Enoch had, right? Enoch walked with God, right? And Moses, yeah, he did sin, but their relationship was so tight, They could talk like two friends talking. But yeah, what do you think about that? That's an interesting question to ponder, I think.
Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered,
Should a wise man answer with empty knowledge and fill himself with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk?
Rhonda's saying Job was rewarded for staying solid in his faith in God. Also, in my opinion, Job needed to hang around on earth for a little while longer to testify about the power of God. Okay. That makes sense. That God had other plans for Job on earth. Okay. Right, yeah, that makes sense because Moses fulfilled his duty. And once he fulfilled his duty, and he passed away, God took him. Okay. Same with Elijah. Elijah fulfilled his duty, passed on his work to Elisha, and then God took him. So yeah, I think you're right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or by speeches with which he can do no good? Yes, you cast off fear and restrain prayer before God. For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I. Yes, your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man who was born? Or were you made before the hills? Have you heard the counsel of God? Do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not in us? Both the gray-haired and the aged are among us, much older than your father.
You're taking this
personally. Are the
personally.
consolations of God too small for you, and the words spoken gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away, and what do your eyes wink at, that you turn your spirit against God and let such words go out of your mouth? What is man that he could be pure? And he who is born of a woman, that he could be righteous. If God puts no trust in his saints, and the heavens are not pure in his sight, how much less man, who is abominable and filthy, who drinks iniquity like water? I will tell you, hear me. What I have seen, I will declare. What wise men have told, not hiding anything received from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no alien passed among them. The wicked man writhes with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden from the oppressor. Dreadful sounds are in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer comes upon him. He does not believe that he will return from darkness, for a sword is waiting for him. He wanders about for bread, saying, "Where is it?" He knows that a day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish make him afraid. They overpower him like a king ready for battle. For he stretches out his hand against God, and acts defiantly against the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with his strong embossed shield. Though he has covered his face with his fatness, and made his waist heavy with fat, he dwells in desolate cities, in houses which no one inhabits, which are destined to become ruins. He will not be rich, nor will his wealth continue, nor will his possessions overspread the earth. He will not depart from darkness. The flame will dry out his branches, and by the breath of his mouth he will go away. Let him not.
Okay, let me jump into what my Bible has to say about all this. It doesn't seem like he's Eliphaz is saying anything inherently wrong, right? It's just that he's coming at it the wrong way, I feel like. The insinuation that Job had filled himself with the east wind is an allusion to the violent and scorching wind from the desert that brought no rain. Thus, Eliphaz is implying that Job's arguments were destructive and without beneficial substance. I mean, I get it. You're saying that his arguments were destructive. Yes, okay. But Job is just, like Rhonda says, Job just wants you to lend an ear. You just listen to him, pray with him, give him a hug. All right, maybe don't give him a hug. He has boils all over him. But, just be there for him. Help him get through this troubled time. And that's it. You don't need to get into a full-on debate or argument with the guy right now. That's not what he needs. Eliphaz's statement, "Your own mouth condemns you," expresses ironic agreement with Job's earlier words, but Eliphaz deliberately twists Job's words to say that Job no longer needs a day in court since his own mouth has already incriminated him. Yes, he was in a weak moment. Are you the first man who was born? This sarcastic question anticipates a theme developed in the Lord's speeches. Eliphaz throws Job's words of chapter 12, verse 3 and chapter 13, verse 2 back into his face. He counters Job's sarcastic rebuttal to Bildad that wisdom comes only with age by saying that people much older than Job's father are on their side. Since Job was already a mature man who had raised 10 grown children, this may be an exaggeration for effect. The Hebrew word translated spirit may also be translated temper or anger. Okay, well, I mean, we sort of use that today as well. That's in verse 13. Sometimes people think they know what's best for everyone's life. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like it's not coming from a place. It's not coming from a bad place, right? Yeah, he may think that he knows what's best for everybody, right? He probably has maybe has an ego problem, thinks that he's better than other people. Maybe all that stuff too. But he's still at the root of it. He wants to help his friend. He might be going at it in not the best way, right? He might be making assumptions that are not accurate. But in the end, he doesn't want to see his friend suffer. Right? So, I mean, I get where he's coming from. I don't like the angle he's taken. Eliphaz rephrases his thought of chapter 4 by interweaving an apparent gibe at Job's complaint of, again, chapter 4, about a man born of woman. Where is that? 14, 15. What is man that he could be pure, and who is born of woman that he could be righteous, right? So again, jumping back to what we read in chapter 14, saying that, where is it? Job, Job chapter 1, right? Job chapter 14, verse 1. Job agrees with Eliphaz's statement that a person is born for trouble. Where was I? 16 and 18, 17, 18. I will tell you, hear me. What I have seen, I will declare. What wise men I have told, not hiding anything received from their fathers. The phrase "what I have seen" shows that Eliphaz bases his instruction on experience and observation. He also appeals to the wisdom. Tradition as Bildad had done. Okay, we're just going into
all his days.
We're just going into a little clarifying phrases and words here, so we can skip all that stuff. So where were we in the actual text? We finished up here, right? 27. But I want to go ahead and check out. Let's see, my Bible talks about that. Okay, here. This is what I wanted to see. The imagery of... Well, let's go back and read chapter 27 again. Though he has covered his face with his fatness and made his waist heavy with fat, he dwells in desolate cities, in houses which no one inhabits, which are destined to become ruins. The imagery of the fat man who eventually loses his wealth and possessions by divine punishment for his wickedness insinuates that Job's calamities have occurred because of his own self-indulgence. So that is what Job is trying to get at. I mean, what Eliphaz is trying to get at.
Desolate, heavy with fat, he dwells in desolate cities, in houses which no one inhabits, which are destined to become ruins. He will not be rich, nor will his wealth continue, nor will his possessions overspread the earth. He will not depart from darkness. The flame will dry out his branches, and by the breath of his mouth he will go away. Let him not trust in futile things, deceiving himself, for futility will be his reward. It will be accomplished before his time, and his branch will not be green. He will shake off his unripe grape like a vine, and cast off his blossom like an olive tree. For the company of hypocrites will be barren, and fire will consume the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and bring forth futility. Their womb prepares deceit.
In mentioning the fire that will consume the tents of the wicked, Eliphaz employs the same two words that describe the fire of God that devoured Job's sheep and servants. 34. For the company of hypocrites will be barren, and fire will consume the tents of bribery. So he's trying to strike an emotional chord with Job. He's really trying to get him to understand or get an emotional reaction out of him. They're really trying to drive this point into Job. All three of his friends, they're unrelenting in this crusade. 16.
Then Job answered,
I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall words of wind have an end? Or what provokes you that you answer?
Job called them miserable comforters. They definitely are.
I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall words of wind have an end? Or what provokes you that you answer? I also could speak as you do, if your soul were in my soul's place. I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you, but I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the comfort of my lips would relieve.
Job is going after his friends now. Okay, all right. Job's had enough. He's like, all right, I gave you a chance to speak. Okay, you've been coming at me this whole time. All right, now it's your turn.
So were in my soul's place. I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you, but I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the comfort of my lips would relieve your grief.
So Job is saying, I could be doing what you guys are doing to me. If our places were switched, I could be calling out all the things that I think you did wrong, trying to reason with it, trying to figure out, okay, this is why, you know what I mean? But Job is saying what he would have done if he was in their places. He would comfort them. I want to see if they respond to this.
Though I speak, my grief is not relieved. And if I remain silent, how am I eased? But now he has worn me out. You have made death.
I can dig it. Job, I could really clap back. However, that's not what he needs to do. Yeah.
Desolate all my company. You have shriveled me up, and it is a witness against me. My leanness rises up against me and bears witness to my face. He tears me in his wrath and hates me. He gnashes at me with his teeth. My adversary sharpens his gaze on me. They gape at me with their mouth. They strike me reproachfully on the cheek. They gather together against me. God has delivered me to the ungodly and turned me over to the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he has shattered me. He also has taken me by my neck and shaken me to pieces. He has set me up for his target. His archers surround me.
So he feels like he's been betrayed by God, looks like.
His archers surround me. He pierces my heart and does not pity. He pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with wound upon wound.
I see. We don't know who wrote Job, right? That's what we covered when we first started Job. There's different theories on when Job was written, right? Some people believe that it was written around the time of Solomon. Some people think that it was the first book written. So we don't really know who wrote Job, but whoever wrote Job, they're very descriptive in their writing. Like the word choice is like, it's very illustrative.
He breaks me with wound upon wound. He runs at me like a warrior. I have sewn sackcloth over my skin and laid my head in the dust. My face is flushed from weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death.
The voice actor is great too.
Although no violence is in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, do not cover my blood, and let my cry have no resting place. Surely even now my witness is in heaven, and my evidence is on high. My friends scorn me. My eyes pour out tears to God.
So he dang it. So he feels like God has betrayed him, right? He said, like archers and all that. And he believes that his friends scorn him. So his friends have betrayed him. So he has nobody on his side, right? Even his wife was like, curse God and die, right? So he has nobody. He's all alone. Yet so the crazy thing is he believes God had betrayed him, that God is against him. Yet he's saying, oh, that one might plead for a man. Wait, no. And my eyes pour out tears to God. He is still crying and praying to God, even though he thinks that God is against him. It's a hurt, Rhonda's saying it's a hurt feeling when it feels like everyone, including God, has abandoned you. Yeah, man, it is. It really is. He thinks God has abandoned him, yet he's still calling out to God. So his faith in God, surpasses everything. Like, even if God rebukes him, his faith is still unshaken. That is That shows his devotion. That really shows his devotion to God.
And scorn me. My eyes pour out tears to God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God, as a man pleads for his neighbor. For when a few years are finished, I shall go the way of no return.
Oh, man. Well, that's going to be it for today. We just finished chapter 16. Tomorrow, we'll jump into chapter 17. This is subheaded, Job Prays for Relief. So, Job has finished his venting, right? He finished his crying out to God, right? He went through that hopeless phase, right? Sort of, expressed his anger towards God and his friends, and now he's just praying for relief, right? He prayed for death. He wanted death, but he knows that God's not going to give that to him. So now he's praying for relief, and next we're going to see Bildad's counter, and this one is the chapter 18. That's in chapter 18. That's headed, "The wicked are punished." So it looks like they're still trying to push the idea that Job is a sinner. It's on Job. Like, the reason why you're going through all of this is because you are a sinner, because you're wicked, and you're being punished. Man, even after this whole chapter 16, where Job went after his friends, explained to them what he really wants. He just wants to be comforted, be there for him. They're still going after him. Wow, in chapter 19 it says Job trusts in his Redeemer. So, yeah, Job's faith is unshakable. And Rhonda's saying, just like the lady who had the blood issues for 12 years, Jesus said, "Somebody touched me. Her faith restored her." Yes. Yeah. Imagine that. I mean, she had that blood condition her entire life, right? So she could have thought as well, like, God has forsaken me. I've had this condition for so long, and nothing can heal me. She went to all the doctors. Nothing can heal me. She could have given up. She could have been like, God has forsaken me. But she kept having that faith. She hunted down Jesus, and, like, even if I just touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. So, yeah, faith will definitely restore you. But, okay, that's going to be it for today. We went through chapter 13. Went from chapter 13 to chapter 16. And tomorrow we'll jump into chapter 17. And we'll continue on from there. Thank you, Rhonda, for sticking all the way to the end and taking part in this Bible reading. What Rhonda says, however, she still believed and kept her faith. Exactly. And that's a valuable lesson that we can learn, right? Usually when we face troubles, we try to solve them on our own. Sort of what the direction Job's friends are taking, right? They're trying to reason and trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong. Then we can fix that, and all things will be good, right? They're trying to take control of the situation and trying to help Job take control of the situation by saying, okay, you're in this position, therefore you probably did something wicked, so we need to amend that wickedness, ask for forgiveness, stop doing that, and you won't be in this situation anymore, right? But I feel like what we need to do more often is when we face these issues, we just need to go directly to God. And that's exactly what Job did. Job went right after Job's sons died, after Job's children died, he went directly to God, and that's what we need to do. A lot of times it's tough, like even for little things. If you lose something, if you lose your keys, what do? You try and backtrack. You try and going around looking for it in every nook and cranny of the house. And then once you can't find it, once you've exhausted all measures, then you pray. Right? At least that's what I do. And sometimes, we got to stop doing that. At least I know I got to stop doing that. You got to go to God first. Why wouldn't you? He's God. Go to him first. Why try to figure out things on your own, And go to God as a last-ditch effort, last measure. Just go to him first. So yeah, definitely. What did Rhonda say? That was their thinking, however. They had no idea what was going on in the background between God and the devil. Exactly. They didn't know. Even Job didn't know. Yeah, if they knew, that would change the entire equation. Okay, but that's it. Chapter 13 to 16 is done. Tomorrow we'll jump into chapter 17. Again, thanks, Rhonda, for sticking all the way to the end and for taking part in our Bible study today. Hopefully, I can see you tomorrow as we jump into chapter 17, and if you can come by. But yeah, thanks for sticking around to the end. Hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'm gonna go get some Thai food, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye-bye.